Welcome to Appetite for Production. Over the coming minutes, hours, weeks, and months, we'll be talking about synths, plugins, DAWs, and how to use them.
Or how not to use them.
Discussions from the fraught lives of two modern music production professionals.
I'm sitting here with Tim Cant. He's been a music technology journalist for the past, how many years?
18 or 19?
For the past 80 or 90 years. He's been the man behind the camera for literally billions of in-studio producer videos, and he's basically seen it all.
I've seen it all, I've smelt it all, and I've tasted it all. And this is James Russell. He's the man with his finger on the pulse of today's best software releases.
Tim, when I've been doing this for as long as you have, please kill me.
It will be a pleasure. So, what are we going to talk about today, James?
Well, in this first episode, we will be talking about Roland's official 808 and 909 emulations.
Mm-hmm.
Subscription software services.
Mm-hmm.
Trackpads.
Oh, what an exciting topic for people to listen to with their ears.
Ableton Live 10.
Very exciting, of course.
The personalities of digital audio workstations.
Oh, intriguing. I can't wait to find out what that's going to involve.
Synths with built-in effects.
Controversial.
Are presets too well designed?
Definitely.
Max for Live. Mo modules, mo problems.
Oh, don't even talk to me about Max for Live. Seriously, don't talk to me about it.
And we'll discuss some recent software releases and play with something we've never used before.
Oh, I think I know what that is.
Okay, you must have seen this year, Roland finally released emulated versions of the 808 and the 909.
Yeah, I only just found about this, and I must be really slack because I didn't realise anything about the Roland subscription service at all, which is really shocking because I'm a massive Roland fan and everything. And while I'm not so bothered about the 808 and the 909, because you got the D16 stuff anyway, though it'll be interesting to see Roland's take on it. Like, I didn't realise they had emulated versions of the D50 and the D70, but they're not actually emulated versions. They're just apparently they're sample. They're romplers essentially.
Right.
Which I'm pretty upset about because I love me some old Roland sound modules. But I feel like when you can pick up the kind of you can pick up like stuff like a Roland JV pretty cheap secondhand, and you don't have to rent it basically. I feel like it's not a great incentive to go for this subscription service, and it kind of raises the question: how many subscription services can people afford?
I mean, what are we looking at? What is it, £20 a month?
Is that how much it is?
$20 a month?
We should probably look this up. Let's ask Mr. Internet, because I've already got Noise and Splice. So it's just like,
Okay. Tell me about Noise and Splice.
They're cool. Like I've had a lot of experiences in the past where I've bought sample libraries and used like 2 sounds off them. So I freaking love the subscription services. I think they're great, and I use the sounds off them. There's good stuff on both of them.
Okay, so how do you pay for individual things on?
Noise, I've done like a yearly subscription, and then you can just download as much as it's like all you can eat, basically. Right. Splice is, I'd say Splice has a wide array of sounds on it. You get a number of credits that you can use every month to download things. I have accrued a massive amount of credits.
So you're paying every month or every year, and then you get credits every month, and you can spend them on what you want. Is that right?
Yeah. So you get like there's various tiers, whatever. So you'll get like say 300 credits a month, so you can buy 300 samples. And I think it's an amazing deal, really.
But you made a good point. Like, how many subscription services can you subscribe to?
Yeah, it's like, the thing is, it's this. I didn't get into this hobby to spend a load of money. Do you know what I mean? So like, and the thing is, everyone's got tons of subscriptions these days. We've got like Netflix, Spotify, like all like freaking Squarespace or whatever, like, all this stuff and everything. And it's just like, I'm not looking to like spend something I don't want to rent a virtual 808. Do you know what I mean? It just seems crazy.
You'd rather buy it.
I'd yeah, yeah. I mean, I bought an Efferton or whatever. I don't even use it that much, so it's I mean, I guess for some people with loads of money, it's really cool. But
yeah, Rolling Cloud. I'm looking at it now. $20 a month, and if you want $215 a year. In the UK, £19 a month.
That's too much, man. Because I can
all the rolling stuff, basically.
I've got a deal on Splice where I'm paying I was paying like the $14 a month. I'm on a lower because I had accrued so many credits. I'm on like the lowest tier now, and it's just I don't know, man. For some emulated Roland stuff, I mean, I'm sure it's all cool and everything, but that's a decent amount of money.
What are you getting on Splice? Are you getting samples and more, or just samples?
I think you can get patches. I just use it for samples.
Okay, so you could get a bunch of Serum presets or something like that, and
I think so, but I'm not too worried about that. Oh, and on Splice as well, you can do rent to own for Serum, which that like maybe if Roland did something like that, it'd be cooler. But
rent to own is I think there are so many variations of how to make a subscription service for software, but I don't think anyone's quite hit it on the head yet.
No, and the thing is, it's like I don't want to get into a situation where I come back to a project in 24 months and I'm like, okay, I've got to I want to like bounce down stems from this or whatever. I've got to start paying for a subscription service again. It just seems like a pain. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, I'm not convinced. But like I say, I'm a massive Roland fan. I want them to do something that is that will tempt me basically.
If they offered you all their stuff, so you've got £200 for a year, 185 for a year on the Roland Cloud. Let's say they offered you all their stuff permanently for the price of a 2-year subscription. They said £370 to own all of it. Forget the subscription. Would you do that?
I don't know, man, because I bought a JV 1080 off eBay, and I think it even had an expansion card in it for like 110 quid.
Okay.
So it's just like I don't know, man. It's just like, and they're not even offering something that offers the functionality of the actual bits of original hardware. Plus, you can get that Korg analog and digital legacy thing like dirt cheap now. I think it's like the equivalent of 125 quid, and you just get an absolute load of stuff. And that stuff, it's not sample based, it's actual proper emulations of the stuff and everything. The M1 is perfect, the Wave Station is great. So like I don't know, man, this Roland deal's not really doing it for me personally.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think I've subscribed to anything related.
It's because you're a disloyal person.
Yeah, I don't think I've really got involved. Of course, you had Cakewalk doing Sonar on subscription.
Really? I didn't know about that.
That was on subscription for quite a while, but they've recently...
clearly worked out for them.
Yeah, it clearly worked very well because they've recently pulled the entire line and are not going to develop it anymore. They were releasing an update to it every month or so. Sort of minor updates, never updating in a massive way, but just trickling minor updates in there. But that never gave anyone a reason to talk about it.
Mm.
If there's not a massive new version of Sonar, then there's no reason for people to discuss the massive new version of Sonar.
Mm.
And they just added, say, a different way to do comping this month. And it doesn't really get the traction or the conversation that it deserves. It's
tricky because potentially it's a fair enough way of doing things. And that would, like, if you were a Sonar fan, then that seems to be like a fair enough deal. And I don't know, I think rental software is probably the future. And to be honest, I forgot, I do rent Adobe Premiere.
Oh, yeah. I've got an Adobe CC subscription going on. Yeah,
it seems
true.
like everyone's got an Adobe CC subscription or whatever. It's like everyone's dirty little secret. But like, to be honest, I'd rather just buy something and not have to spend, like, I spend 17 quid a month just on Premiere, man. It's crazy.
I guess this whole thing is how everything is going.
Yeah.
And has been going for a while. People want you to subscribe to something because their company knows they got guaranteed income, and it's just bleeding across the music software where people might not want it as much.
The tricky thing is, right, with Splice, you're paying a subscription, but once you download the samples, you've got those samples forever. So it's fair enough. You've got something to keep. With software, it's not the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think from what I remember about the Sonar one is that they, once you stopped subscribing, you pretty much had Sonar as in the state that you had it
Oh, okay.
ongoing.
But what's to stop you subscribing for 1 month? And then you've got Sonar.
I'm sure there was something to stop you from subscribing 1 month. Maybe after you'd subscribed for a year, you could then just stop at any time and it would freeze as the last version that you had and you would get to use that. So there are so many ways to do it. There are loads of models.
The thing is, it's fair enough if you're making money out of this, right? So like I've got to rent Premiere because otherwise I can't do the job properly. If you're looking at it as a hobby sort of thing, then it's just I think it's going to create it feels like it creates a two-tier system where hobbyists are just going to be like, meh, I can't afford this. This is supposed to be not bleeding me dry. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. And they're just going to go elsewhere. They're going to go to the companies that are offering them cheaper stuff.
Yeah. And the thing is now, like, if you look at like the way Waves are pricing stuff, why not just fork out on some Wave stuff once it's on sale? It's bizarre now that we've reached the stage where like Waves is the company that's offering the really consumer friendly, cheap sort of deal and everything. But yeah, it's mad, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, shopping with Waves feels like buying a sofa. You know, if you didn't buy it at the sale price, you're an idiot.
Well, oh god, yeah, no, totally.
Or you just got totally duped.
Yeah, totally. And to be honest, I'm pretty happy they're doing the sale stuff because I've bought stuff that I wouldn't have bought for full price,
right?
That I now use like all the time, basically.
Okay.
I'm sure I can't be the only one and everything. So I think fair play. I think that's probably in terms of marketing, that's probably they're probably doing the right thing, I guess.
Okay, so next thing, Tim, are you a fan of the Humble trackpad?
Do you know what? I used to exclusively use trackpads until I started using some crappy old mouse that I got with a second-hand PC I bought, and I bloody love it, mate. It's so good.
What's so good about your crappy old mouse?
I don't know. It's really quick. I find it loads quicker than the trackpad. I do miss the gestures on the trackpad.
Right.
And there was a point where I was using the laptop and the mouse, so I'd do gestures on the trackpad and still be using the mouse. Now I've just got like a big monitor, so I'm just using mouse and I'm alt-tabbing to switch between stuff like it's the 90s or whatever.
Well, I love a good trackpad.
Yeah, I can see you've got two in front of you.
Yeah, I have an external trackpad, and if I feel like it, I could just use the one that's built into the laptop and go crazy with two trackpads. But this new thing is called Audio Swift, and basically Audio Swift is a Mac-only app that lets you use your trackpad as a control surface and MIDI controller. So I'm going to play the video on mute.
Wow, I've never seen a trackpad before. This is going to be pretty exciting.
So basically, you've got a standard app, but what it does, it lets you use the trackpad on its own to control things like faders and to put as an input device to stick MIDI in there or do anything like that.
Oh, okay. So it's not literally just an XY control.
No, but it can be. That's one of the uses you can use. Right. You can use it as an XY, or you can use it sort of as a little mixing fader. Choose the next channel, adjust the fader, choose the next channel, something like that. What do you think of that?
I think some people are going to be keen on that. For me, I don't know, man. Like, I consider myself a demon with a mouse and keyboard, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm into it, man. To be honest though, it looks like they've done a decent job on the software and everything.
I think this automation using it and recording in automation and just pulling your finger to where you want the automation to be as it records the automation. That's a good usage for it.
That does actually look all right. And I saw that the price was quite, is it like $25 or something? Because I've got an external trackpad that I'm not using. So you've got to think that I would be their ideal consumer.
Yeah, it's $24. And yeah, we both have external trackpads. I am as I said, massive fan of trackpadding, but
Are you going to do it?
I don't love it. It's a good idea.
It's cool how they've done it so that you can like use it as like a drum pad and stuff. That's pretty innovative.
You can use it as a drum pad, as a keyboard, or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know how much use I would truly get out of it. Even though I do have a place on my MIDI controller just to stick my trackpad where there is nothing else going on. And I do keep my trackpad there. So it could technically just help out.
Are you gonna take the plunge? Did I see there's a demo version?
Maybe I'm gonna try it out for next time and see if I can report on my insane trackpad messings and see if it revolutionizes my my making music or if it's just a damp squib.
Oh, I don't know, man. I just feel like anything that makes music making more complicated is a bit of a white elephant.
True. Well, for some people, this might make it easier if they are reaching for a mouse and clicking faders rather than just putting their finger on their trackpad and going up and down. Could be helpful. But I mean, it all depends on how you make music. Like if you put a crap load of hand-drawn automation in there, then this is going to help. But I assume most people don't.
No, and like I guess some people love twiddling knobs, but with the trackpad you don't get that sort of tactile, or some people might say haptic feedback. Is that right? But yeah, like I don't know, man. Well, it's good that they've done it anyway, because I'm sure there's going to be like 3 people who absolutely go nuts for it, basically.
Yeah.
So fair play.
Okay, this thing was announced at NAMM. It is by a company called Sound Theory, and the app is called Gullfoss. App or plugin, I'm not quite sure.
It's called what?
Gullfoss. Gullfoss.
Okay, that rolls off the tongue. So that's already a great start.
So basically, I don't want to say it's a mastering processor, but it's sort of like a sound Bettery processor. Maybe it's this kind of thing that you might try using almost after mastering, just to give a final push.
After mastering?
Well,
oh my god!
I'm not going to invent a new strand of production here.
Post mastering,
or maybe just for a quick master, or maybe for one track. Basically, it's using some form of technology that they've come up with to maximize many individual bands. I'll read you some of their blurb. Please do. Okay, it says, Gullfoss is designed to improve the clarity and audibility of any single instrument recording, mix, or nearly mastered soundtrack. By dynamically altering the levels of hundreds of frequency bands more than 100 times per second, hearable information is maximized.
Wicked.
Okay.
So it's basically.
Do you get the principle?
Yeah. So it's like a multi-band compressor for every single frequency. It's just going to make everything insanely loud. Yeah, bring it on.
So now the problem with this, when I was on their website, I decided to listen to the audio demos.
Yeah.
And I wasn't impressed.
Oh, really?
You've got a page where you can play with Gullfoss, without Gullfoss, and the original. And from what I could hear, I mean, obviously I wasn't analysing it too much, I was just listening to it. But to me, it sounded like it boosted the highs, and basically felt like there was some background noise added to it, if anything, with the Gullfoss on it.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Do you want to take a listen?
Yeah, why not?
Tim is listening to Gullfoss. Yes, he is. Look at his little face.
So what, it's just like bringing up the sort of high end for some reason, just bringing up the quiet parts?
I'm sure it's doing a lot of things. I'm sure it's very, very clever. And it's messing with things to sort out phase coherence and whatnot, multiple microphones and whatnot. And
really?
You do get a bit more clarity from many microphones. But do you feel it Do you feel there's a buzzing coming in?
It feels like you can hear stuff in the like if it doesn't sound totally natural. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know that's not what it sounds like when you're listening to a piano. That you've got like all of this high stuff is like really really sort of present, and I understand why it would be beneficial, quote unquote, to have that like when people are listening on like sort of less than perfect sort of playback systems and everything. But I don't know what happened to stuff sounding nice, bro.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? It's like
check out the next example. It's got another.
Okay, let's do this.
Tim is listening to Golfos. Tim is listening to Golfos. So sonically, to you, what's the difference there?
Mate, it sounds like they put an exciter on it. So like, I don't know, man. Like it, which is, I don't know. Like if you are a bit of a noob and I don't know, your tracks aren't fizzy enough for your own taste, I guess you could just put something on it that works like an exciter. But I don't know.
Carbonation plugin.
I don't think everything needs to sound like super high-endy. Like everyone, like it seems like really fashionable to make stuff sound like super high-endy, and I don't know if it's really for the best. Do you know what I mean?
I do. That definitely does seem to boost the high end. If anything, just from listening to it, that's what you can tell, right? In both examples, the high end is boosted.
I mean, it hasn't like ruined it at all, but it's like it's such a small difference. I mean, I don't know. Like this is gonna make me sound like a right grumpy old man. But what happened? What happened to getting stuff right from the start? You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a lot to be said for the high end in general because it's something you can easily overcook or undercook.
This is true.
Because usually the high end, even if it's quite loud, it's less loud than the rest.
But it's such a small difference, though. How much is this thing? Is it a subscription service? Because if it is, I'm not interested. Basically.
We have to talk about Live 10.
Let's talk about Live 10, bro. I haven't got my copy of it yet, but I've been assured that I'm gonna get it soon. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Okay, so I mean,
actually, I'm not that excited, but you know,
you haven't used it at all, right?
No, I haven't used the beta at all because I need stability, mate.
You know that there's always problems with betas, but you know the broad strokes. What's new, don't you?
Yeah, it's mainly some new instruments. Groups in groups.
Groups.
Yeah, nested groups. That sounds cool. I mean, I've always just made my own like buses in groups, which isn't that much of a faff, but if it makes it a bit less of a faff.
Yeah.
If it makes it more of a faff, I'm going to be upset with that.
So for some reason, the one thing that stood out the most to me, I don't know why, because it's not like I'm going to use it every day, but just pressing R to reverse a track, to reverse an audio clip.
Oh, okay.
It's just press R and it reverses it.
It's like, how much stuff are you reversing?
No, yeah, I know. Exactly. It struck me as, okay, I mean, that's a good idea. I like that you've done that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it very often, but I like that you've done that.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess, what's the synth called? Wavetable, is it?
Wavetable, yeah.
That seems like a cool idea. It does seem like Serum is really kind of like dominating that,
yeah.
You know, the sort of upfront, powerful kind of big synthesis sort of thing. Maybe this will kind of like make a dent in it, but I don't know.
Serum has been dominating the minds of anyone who makes plugins for years and years because they seem to just keep trying to copy it.
Yeah.
I mean, Wavetable's not got any import, I don't believe, for your own sounds. Serum's even got PNG import, so you can just import a picture and start going with it.
It's like when you want to take on Steve Duda, that is a big challenge because he's a boss. Do you know what I mean?
He's a bit like Jesus for plugins.
yeah, he is. he's like Goliath and David rolled into one. What other? He's got long hair like Samson.
Yes, he is a mythical character.
The Bible's not a myth,
Oh,
James.
can
You
we
better-
can we compare him to Hercules?
He's definitely like
He's done some
Hercules.
heavy lifting when it comes to DSP coding, I'm
Oh,
sure.
you're so right. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, maybe people should try something new or whatever. But to be honest, I haven't used Wavetable, if that is indeed its name, so I can't.
It is its name, but
Yeah,
you
okay.
have definitely not used it.
Yeah, like the thing is, for me personally, I don't make too much music with like grindy bass noises in it anymore. So there's not a lot of incentive for me to like go down the route of like, because I used to be banging to Massive back in the day.
Yeah.
FM8, I know that pretty well, but like Serum, it's just, yeah, it just seems like a real big deal to learn, because there's a lot of stuff going on. Not that it's not well designed, and it's,
no.
it seems like he's done an incredible job, and people absolutely love it.
Okay, on the subject of how it works, what do you think about synths that have effects in? Obviously, most synths do have an effects section in, but think about Serum and the fact that you've got a whole separate tab for loads and loads of effects. Do you ever use them? Does it help? Does it hurt?
I generally like to keep the effects external. What I do like with Serum is stuff like, it's got stuff like filters that are reverbs and stuff in there. So stuff that like sound designy sort of stuff that you wouldn't be really as convenient to use if it was an external effect.
Right.
So yeah, so I think it's really fair enough. And I think it's really sound how he gives like the effect version away for free, I believe, which is really, really nice and everything. So, and Serum's reasonably priced.
I think what it helps with, I don't generally go to the effects sections in a synth. I just put something in F.
Yeah.
But what it does help with is getting a load of great presets with it. So they can sell more presets, more people use it, and it just opens up another market of people who want interesting, great presets.
The thing is, I think when it comes to reverb, that can be a really integral part of a sound's design. I think a lot of other stuff, especially delay, I don't really like. Do you know, it really annoys me when people put delays on samples. That is annoying. Yeah, because on a preset you can turn it off.
Yeah.
Delays on samples, mate. It's just like, why are you making my life so hard?
No, that's just assuming that they know your tempo as well.
Mate, not everyone is making 120 BPM house music. Do you know what I'm saying, bruv? So yeah, but yeah, it's fair enough. And some synths have like decent enough built-in effects, but I don't know, man. I prefer to. The thing is, the quality of these external effects you can get now is so good. Why would you limit yourself to using internal stuff?
Well, true, but the answer is because it's simpler. And it's right there, and you don't have to load another thing. You don't have to look for another thing. You don't have to master another thing. You're still in the synth. You're programming the synth, and then you just whack a reverb on there, and you whack a distortion on there.
No, I'm not feeling it, man. And do you know what? Every time I use a fair few sounds from Omnisphere or whatever, I'm turning those presets off, mate, because it's you can get better results and have more control if you're using external stuff. So yeah, I didn't realize how down on internal effects I was, but yeah, it turns out I hate them with a passion.
Brings me to another thing about presets. I remember playing with the old Dave Smith Pro 2, and that basically you can cycle through the presets, and they're all, as you can imagine, shit hot presets, best presets you've ever heard, amazing sounds. And if you do anything to those presets, by definition, you're making it worse. Like if you want to tweak anything, you're making it worse. You're making it worse every time because they're so damn good that you can only make them worse. So I think what people should be doing is offering sort of sketch presets. So as well as your massively well-designed sounds, you should offer some starting points at the same time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So let's say instead of doing a whole setup for the synth and everything's going crazy and everything is sounding massively impressive, you do a thing where a few things have been programmed and the user can take it off in their direction.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair enough. I guess there's a big incentive for patch designers to put a load of effects on their stuff, so it sounds big and impressive, which makes it less usable. But it's but on the other hand, you can just turn this stuff off. So
Yeah.
it's so it's fair enough, really, and everything. Yeah.
But then you've got to take ages turning it off.
Well, I know.
Flick everything off.
Every second counts when you're making music.
Do you like Appetite for Production? Then like Appetite for Production.
On Facebook, search Appetite for the number Production Podcast.
On Twitter, we're at A4P Podcast. Again, that's the number 4.
We'll do something on Reddit, probably Appetite for Production, I would imagine, for the number. Seeing a pattern here.
Find out a bit more on our website, a4ppodcast.com.
And you can see this episode's Initialize This on our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. What else is new in Live 10?
I didn't really. All I really paid attention to was wavetable and then S groups. Oh, and there's this capture MIDI thing, which
Capture
I guess
MIDI.
is.
Did
Which
you
is
see? Yeah, this has also just appeared in Pro Tools as well.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I don't know why people haven't been doing this for ages. Maybe there was some technical limitation. But yeah, so if you've been noodling about with your keyboard and accidentally either you find out you didn't hit record or you thought, oh, that thing I just played to mess about was great.
Yeah.
I wish I'd recorded it. You can click your little capture button and it will have recorded it.
Yeah. Like, basically, I really like Live. I'm just hoping that the new stuff they're doing doesn't detract from its usability, basically. But they seem like they've got their sort of design pretty sorted and everything. It doesn't seem like they're messing stuff up too much. So
Yeah, it's not a massive update. But, I mean, it is, but the things they're introducing are small, but they work really well together.
I think it's a strategy that's worked really well for them. It's such a usable bit of software, especially now. I think other manufacturers could stand to learn a bit from what they do, really.
The drum bus plugin and the echo plugin.
Yeah, I mean, it's a drum bus. It's basically just like a sort of glue sort of style thing, is it?
In a way, yeah. It's got some sort of low, mid, high things to dial in there, and you can tailor it a bit.
Yeah.
It's specifically for that. You can add some specific things to the mids, specific things to the highs.
I tend not to mess with my drum buses too much again, but I don't know. I'm sure that's not how a lot of people work. So it's probably. And what was the other one? Echo.
The echo, yeah, that's another sort of full screen thing. What do you think about the full screen in Wavetable and the echo?
I generally don't like the design of Live's built-in effects and instruments and stuff and everything. I think it's better when they're full screen, I guess.
You'll let me know when you've actually played with it and you.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be on the edge of your seat to find that one out. What they need is something like is as good as Space Designer, because that's what every kind of DAW really lacks, I think, compared to Logic.
Or like a proper convolution with loads of presets in it.
Yeah, like if you could get Space Designer as a sort of standalone, as a plugin sort of thing, I think people would go crazy for that. But yeah, I think, and in Max for Live, there's convolution stuff and everything. But the trouble with stuff like Max for Live is it's a bit of a faff if you're not using it all the time. But
True, yeah. Max for Live is a whole nother world, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I've never been able to quite breach that world.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've used the convolution reverb in it once and everything, but it's just oh man, it's just life's too short, dude.
I mean, I could see myself using it at some point, but I would definitely, what I'd want is for someone to just sit me down and say, okay, here's the very basics of Max for Live. I don't want to watch a tutorial. I don't want to do any research. I want someone to say, oh, if you just do this, this, and this, then you're up and running with Max, and you can mess about with it yourself.
I don't know if
just
it's
very
that simple,
intro.
Man. I think Max is probably quite complicated.
That's the whole problem, yeah.
The thing is, I did a load of Reactor stuff at university, and don't get me wrong, I love Reactor. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm a busy guy. I want to make generic drum and bass tunes as quickly as possible. So it's like, do you know what? It's like, I think if your priority is making tunes, I think those things are probably, I don't know, it seems to be a bit of a gulf between people who want to make tunes quickly and people who want to tinker. And I think Max for Live and Reactor are more on the tinkerers side.
I can agree. I think everyone can agree with that. I don't think there are that many producers who have spuffed out a quick hit by loading up Max for Live and Reactor and just getting nerdy. There are some, but it's not the rule.
The one example I can think of is I did a producer masterclass with DJ Fresh, and he made in Max for Live like a drum roll builder, which I thought was an amazing idea because he's presumably using a lot of drum rolls, and it's so fair play to him. Hats off for him. To him for that one.
It's nice to see when someone's done it.
I was like, mate,
really
because
interesting.
he's a famous guy or whatever. He doesn't need to be programming his own Max things, but he was doing it. So yeah, I've got a lot of time for that.
So how many months did it take you to build that one?
I think he's pretty smart. I think he probably knocked it up quite quickly.
Yeah.
So so fair play.
Oh. Something that's come out recently, which I haven't seen much about. Maybe you can tell me. The NI Effect Series mod pack, is that the name of it?
Yeah, the mod pack.
I get it.
So I can
I remember they released a freeware phaser or something over Christmas, didn't they?
Yeah, so Phasis, I believe is how it's... I was calling it Phasis, but apparently it's pronounced Phasis, was released before Christmas for free. Full disclosure, I made the promo vids for these, so I was using them before they came out, and obviously I'm prejudiced, but they are really good.
Consider yourselves disclosed.
Yeah. So there's Phasis, which is a phaser which has got an ultra mode, which means that you can put some of the settings to extreme values.
Oh yeah.
There's choral.
How extreme are we talking here?
Oh, it's triple X rated,
Okay.
mate. Choral, which is like a chorus, which has got which you can do some kind of reverb sort of stuff with, which is kind of interesting.
When you crank it up, it sort of...
Well, it's got some decay settings and sort of stuff on there and everything, and also flare, which has it's got an interesting. So it's a flanger. It's got up to 4 voices. I think it's 4 voices. Yeah, I think it's 4 voices, and so it's got 3-0 mode, which is great for getting sort of a tape flange style effect. Also, it's got a scan mode, so you can scan between the 4 voices, and that you can get some kind of chiptune arpeggiator.
If you're talking about a 4-voice flanger, would that be 4 different delay lines all modulating?
Yeah.
As if you had 4 tape.
Yeah, it's
decks.
not they're basically tuned to different things. They're not all modulating at different speeds, as far as I can remember. But yeah, they're all tuned, and you can tune the root note of it as well, so you can get some interesting effects. And it's cool. You can buy them individually, but it's much better value if you buy them as the pack.
Not that we're saying you should, because...
Well, yeah, I do. Yeah, it feels a bit funny sort of talking about this when
It does. This is not an endorsement of anything. They've paid you to make a promotional video. That's what you do anyway.
So
We're not. And
this is making it sound a lot more dodgy
they
than it actually
definitely
is.
haven't paid you anything to promote it.
No,
Yeah.
oh god, no. But yeah, but it's
it
cool.
is a big release, so we're talking about it.
Yeah, I think I definitely think it's worth checking out. It's interesting because mod effects are somewhere where you don't tend to see a lot of innovation.
True.
So I think it's worth checking out. And I was pretty happy with some of the results I got in the video, especially some of the stuff on drum beats and stuff and everything. But it's the question you have to ask yourself as a user is, how often am I using these kind of effects?
The question I want to ask you is, shouldn't these 3 plugins be one plugin?
No, I don't think so.
No, you think they're unique enough?
Yeah, definitely. And they all take, they've all got their own sort of unique sort of things that they do differently and stuff and everything. I can understand why you might suggest that there'd all be one plugin. I think it's more convenient to have them separately.
Okay.
Really, and I think and I typically haven't really got too many modulation plugins, so I get why they made it.
I do love how NI do their they draw the sort of waveform around the knob.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
Like
If
it's a frequency knob, the wave around the knob gets higher frequency. If
it looks cool.
Amount gets higher amplitude. It's great.
And they've got like graphical displays that show you what's going on and everything. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and they sound great. So yeah, it's worth investigating, and it's interesting that NI are doing something that's a bit less, they do a lot of stuff that's really complicated and full on, and this for them, I mean, I know they've done stuff like, is it like Drive, the or Supercharger. They do a few things that are kind of like verging on like sort of like one knob sort of stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Supercharger, it's basically compressor / sort of very characterful compressor, but it's got plenty of controls to it. I'm talking about Supercharger GT, which may be it's a far more comprehensive set of controls. But it's definitely not what I'd call a one knob plugin, because each one of them has about 7 of them.
Well, yes,
they're simple, but they're not by any means all the processing is done under the hood.
No, but it's not like they're like one of these like reactor things where it's kind of like real. Like I did a video for Prism a while ago. Yeah. I forgot how complicated that thing is, man. Like it's partials all over the shop, mate. So yeah, it's like, it's nice that they're doing a wide range of stuff for everybody. There's something for everybody.
It's good, and you can imagine it will end up dropping into the next version of Complete.
Yeah, totally.
When that surfaces.
And and that's kind of, that seems to be NI's whole game plan. It's to get people buying Complete because there's just an absolute ton of stuff in there. And they're quality editions, I think. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, did you see the thing I put in the document about if DAWs were real people? Who would they be? No. What would their personalities be?
I did not see that.
Should we give that a go?
Please do.
If DAWs were real people, what would they be like? So if you had a human personification of different DAWs, what do you imagine they'd be?
Let's get this straight right from the gate. Ableton Live is a German techno guy with a blazer on.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair enough.
Right?
And he's not like obnoxious with it or anything like that.
No, he's just cool, and everyone likes him.
Yeah, but I get the feeling he's kind of like he's all business or whatever. He's not. He's not going to
have a laugh with you.
No, I don't think he's like on Mandy.
He might have a couple of gins, but then he'll go home.
Yeah, I think and he's probably got all his stuff in like nice. He carries his stuff around in like nice bags and everything.
Oh yeah,
and he's like a pretty smart guy and everything. So yeah, he's fair enough. You'd hang out with him and it wouldn't be a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can disagree with that.
No.
Okay, what's FL Studio like?
FL Studio is I think he is 420 no scoping people on Xbox Live.
I think FL Studio might be you.
No way, dude! Oh my god! For starters, I don't even use Windows anymore. Forget that noise. I think FL Studio, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's not totally on the level, if you get what I'm saying. I think he's probably pirating software. I think FL Studio is a guy who makes music in his bedroom. He's probably between the ages of 15 and 17. He's probably knows his stuff inside out and is pretty talented, but maybe lacks social skills. Is that right?
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to suggest that might be the personality of FL Studio, but yeah.
What about Logic?
Oh, Logic. Logic is probably Hollywood guy.
I imagine Logic as like an Apple Store genius guy.
Apple genius, yeah.
So,
But also, Logic is one of those choices that people get started with as well. And sort of hobby, like someone just wants to record their guitar and singing.
Yeah, I think that's really true, and I think Apple have done a good job of making it accessible. So maybe he's like a friendly guy who works at the Apple Store who'll help you. He'll,
Yeah,
he'll help you with your stuff and everything.
approachable,
He's
but he can
approachable.
also get deep if you take LSD with him.
Yeah, nice, good. What about Reaper?
Reaper, Reaper. What can't you say about Reaper? Why would you have a massive window to host every plugin?
He gets the job done. Do you know
I
what I'm
do.
saying?
I have used Reaper many times, and I enjoy it. I haven't quite spent enough time to just be able to call it up and get going with it. It does some weird things, such as by default, if you, let's say you install it and load it up and you try and extend a clip or drag a clip out, it will loop that clip.
Yeah, yeah.
Which that's one way to do it.
It's got idiosyncrasies basically. So yeah.
But it also has a load of sort of mods and community stuff going on, so it can potentially
Yeah.
be incredible. I'd say,
It's a savant, is what you're saying, basically.
yeah, it is a bit savantish, isn't it?
Yeah. What about Cubase?
Cubase is definitely middle-aged.
I think so. It's a mature package.
Yeah. Needs an iLock. Not an iLock, but it needs an e-licenser.
He's got he needs security basically. He's not hanging out at the club with the FL Studio and Ableton Live guys,
Yeah,
is he?
yeah, absolutely.
And even Logic guy would probably go to a club, but I don't think Cubase is going to the club.
No, Cubase is not going to pull out with a limousine, and
No, I think Cubase is staying at home and doing some very precise guitar recording with immaculate fades.
Cubase
on it.
might just live in a cabin in the woods, but a really, really nice cabin in the
Yeah,
woods.
sure.
A very modern architecture, sort of Frank Lloyd Wright sort of cabin in the woods.
Oh god, yeah, that sounds great. What about Studio One?
Studio One is something we are going to talk about a lot because
Oh, okay.
I know Studio One pretty well. I like Studio One.
Oh god, are you Studio One?
I'm not Studio One. At
Okay.
least I'll let you decide that. But you don't know much Studio One.
No, I've seen it a bit, but I haven't used it loads.
And, this is the world we're living in right now. There are many, many DAWs that you can choose between. And some of them are old, some of them are new. Studio One is new, and it's doing things slightly differently. It's got things it does really well. It's got things it does really stupidly. And yesterday, I updated Studio One, and now when I open it, it immediately crashes.
Oh, mate, that's not a good look.
It's not a good look, and it does some silly things. Maybe it's more a problem with my computer, but it does some silly things. Just to take you on a tangent here, yesterday, because I couldn't open Studio One, I went for Waveform, which is Traction's DAW.
I thought their DAW was called something else.
It was called Traction, but now it's called Waveform. Basically, the export options on Waveform are great. Coming from Studio One, which I usually use, Waveform is a friggin' miracle.
I don't understand how anyone could get excited about export options.
Check this out.
Okay.
So you open your export window and it immediately renders the file in the background. You choose an option such as, I don't want a stereo bounce, I want a mono bounce. Immediately re-renders a mono bounce, sort of works it in the background. Because, when you're on the export dialog, you're not doing anything else. You're not using any other processing. You're just choosing your options. So it uses that time to render everything sort of in the background. You can just choose mono in stereo, which is great. Coming from Studio One, getting a mono export is shit.
Why are you exporting mono anyway, mate?
Well, vocals.
Okay, but I don't. Why not just?
If something's been recorded using an SM57, you need a mono. There's no point in having a stereo. Anyway, I'm doing that. But also other options, you want to remove silence at the start, you just tick it. You want to normalize it, you just click normalize, and it re-renders it. And when you say, okay, go, it doesn't even need to load anything because it's already rendered it.
That's so cool. That's really good.
Sorry for the tangent, but
no,
my mind was blown.
Let me take you on another tangent. Lives export automatically exporting to SoundCloud. I think that's a bad idea. I think we should get rid of that.
A lot of people have that.
I think we should have things that put obstacles in the way of people uploading music rather than making it easy for them to do it. I think we all need less music in our lives rather than more.
I think that is amazingly true.
Okay, so it sounds like Studio One is kind of like a hot mess. Like he's the cool new guy and everything, but like I don't know.
It's got some kinks to be worked out.
Some personality issues. Maybe he turns, he wakes up in sheds or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that'll be fixed. Maybe it won't be fixed.
It sounds like he needs some therapy.
Yeah, but he's still young, so that
he's got time to develop into a fully rounded adult. I guess.
well adjusted sort of door.
What about Reason?
I think you've got to tell me what Reason is, because I'm too close to Reason.
Oh, of course you are. I think. I don't know what Reason is. It feels like Reason doesn't even, in a way, doesn't really have too much of a personality. It's kind of like its own thing. He's like this unknowable guy who's just kind of in his own world.
Yeah.
He's definitely like you.
But the idea I have these days is the people that are using it are more sort of hip hop newcomers and maybe some rock people. But it's
rock people, really?
It could well be. That's from what I see. But does that mean that Reason as a DAW is like those people?
I don't know. It's hands-on.
Yeah, it's old and it was cool when it was young, but now it refuses to change. For the most part.
Reason is the prodigy, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of still doing the same thing and everything.
Bez.
Is Bez still doing the same thing?
Yeah, Bez is still mental, but
so Reason was like a promising young upstart who just did too many party drugs,
right? And
is now kind of stuck in a rut.
Yeah, they've set the brain in the exact same place. Yeah. I can agree with that.
What other DAWs are there that we feel? I feel like we need to cover all of them.
Oh, you got to
Renoise.
Oh, Renoise, man!
Renoise is more elite than FL Studio.
Renoise is sitting in the basement in his mum's house.
And he's like dressed up like Neo out of the Matrix.
With the sort of glowing numbers scrolling
floating
down
in front of his face. Yeah.
That is fully agreed.
Yeah,
there's no more discussion.
I think we've got Renoise's.
What
number.
About Bitwig?
Oh, I think Bitwig is another
main question. Is Bitwig a girl?
Oh, but maybe Bitwig's like some kind of like hot nerdy chick or whatever.
I think that might, yeah.
Like, people are like, it's turning people who like Ableton's heads a little bit, and they're like, maybe she's a bit too crazy for me. I don't know. She's got cool features. So yeah, that would work because I'm intimidated by Bitwig. I want to get involved with Bitwig, but it's like, my heart is belonging to Ableton Live at the moment, I think.
Any more DAWs we've missed? I mean, there are little things.
What about so Traction? If Traction was a person,
very specific. Very specific. It's got a lot of great things that you can do that no one else has or had. But yeah, it's hard for them to get.
It's like a sort of Van Gogh style character, unappreciated in his own lifetime, basically.
Yeah, I think you might be right. It's the unappreciated artist.
Yeah,
who has a lot to offer,
but
no one seems to be cracking it.
No, I think that's pretty much Sonar.
Sonar, rest in peace.
R.I.P. VIP. I'm not sure if there's anything tasteful we can say about Sonar.
I think that's most of them.
And they're all brilliant, by the way. All of them are valid, whatever you use.
They are perfect, unless you're using Magic's Music Maker.
Oh, yeah. Mate, don't get me started on Magic's Music Maker.
Tim, it is now time for Initialize This.
So what's happened? What's initialized this all about then, bro? Tell me.
You are going to play with an initialized synth, a synth that you have never seen or touched before.
I haven't seen this synth before. What the hell is it?
Okay, this synth is called Wiggle, and it is by Second Sense Audio, which is possibly the first Chinese plugin developer.
Oh, words.
I like it a lot. It's currently in an initialized state.
Yeah.
So have a go with it. See what you can do with it.
Are you going to give me any tips beforehand? Okay, right. I'm going to play a C note to kick off because that's pretty exciting. Okay, it looks like we've got 4 oscillators. Okay, it's got PD. Is that phase distortion?
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on. Okay. Right, that's not changing it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So this is some kind of wave shaping, I guess. Oh, that's quite loud. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all right.
And that's just one oscillator.
Yeah, so I'm doing something with a frequency thing. So I guess I don't really know because that sounds a bit phase distortion-y. That is the phase distortion mode. Yeah, I'm not too interested in that, to be honest. I'm gonna mess around. Oh god, this is hard. Okay, none of these things that I'm doing. I'm gonna try wiggling the waveform around because it's called Wiggle.
Yes.
Ooh.
Now,
I get a bit of a vocal thing there.
as you move those notes, you can also modulate those notes.
Well, how do I go on? Give me a hint. How do I modulate this? Because that sounds nice.
Yeah, you like that?
I do like that. Can
Okay.
I right-click it? Oh, MIDI learn for point. I don't want to do MIDI learning.
You don't
mate.
want to.
Life's too short for that.
So modulation is down here.
Okay, and how do I assign that to a point on here?
That is a good question.
You don't know, do you? Okay, let's. There's also an FM matrix. Let's have a. Okay, I'm using FM 2 to 1, I think. Oh god. Oh, it's a bit much. Okay. Oh, this synth's really complicated. And there's a morph pad that's not assigned to anything. Oh god. Okay. Right. I'm good. There's some kind of this filter knob. It's just got discrete settings. Okay.
Okay, let's try and get something modulating.
Okay. Help.
So you've got
help me, James.
You've got mod 1 operating down at the bottom there, right?
Yeah, there's some destinations here. I don't. Okay.
Yeah, can you maybe change the something?
Oh, can I drag that onto something?
Drag it.
No.
Not quite.
No. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I've
that's
assigned
just
a
a
macro, but it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've already done that.
Oh, you did it from the macro.
Oh, okay. Oh, look, that thing's moving now. Okay, hang on. If I move these things over, these Chinese dudes are not messing about. Okay, let's see if I can turn the speed of this up. Oh, length?
Nah.
Yeah, that's turning the speed up, yeah.
Speed up 1 cycle, right?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's why it's called Wiggle, my friend.
It's wiggling around. It sounds pretty good. If I was using this synth, self-modulating there. If I was using this synth not as part of some silliness, I would definitely want to read the manual because it's not like Silence. Okay, I'm going to turn the FM from 2 to 1 down now. Oh,
Are you going to mess with one of the other oscillators?
I don't know. Are they even? Okay. So they're all okay. So there's a mixed control for all of them. I've turned 1 down. Now I'll turn up. Here we go. This is oscillator 3.
But the yellow one.
The yellow one. It's not wiggling. It's like got a bit of a square thing. I'm changing the shape. So you can basically, you've got 4 points for each waveform that you can move around to create a shape. Let me see if I can assign that mod one to something else. I guess it has to be to one of these knobs. Okay, I got this. So it seems like each. Okay, so there's 4 points for each wave shape, and then it's got a speed and a range control that wiggles them around, and you can assign those to the oscillators, to a modulator. Am I on the right track?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
And what sort of modulation options do you have?
I don't know. Well, you can. You've got like a wave shaping thing for the modulator, and there's like 8 different like basic LFOs that you can use. I'm still using number 1 here, and you can control. Well, it's got grids. I guess that's something that it snaps to. Oh no, not really. Oh, you've got to turn snap on. No, I'm still not doing it. Okay, let me try assigning mod 2 to a different. Okay, I'm going to select a different point on this other oscillator, and I'm going to assign that. Oh god. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's wiggling.
I've got 2 different wiggles going on now. I'm going to assign a third. I've got mod 3 up. I'm going to drag that onto the speed. Oh god. Oh, that didn't work how I expected. Oh no, it's still doing something.
How's it sounding to you?
It's just sounding like a really big buzzy square wave. I'm sorry if this is just really unpleasant for people listening. I can't even see filters. Oh, there's filter stuff. Hang on, that's pretty standard. Oh yeah, that sounds all right. There's some pretty simple filtering options. Let's have another go with the phase distortion, which comes up in a separate window. Doesn't really do much. There's a few different options, I guess. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a sine phase distortion. Let's put some modulation in there. Now modulating oscillator 3 with oscillator 1 by FM is sounding pretty rough. Yeah, okay. So I think I've got a vague idea of how this. Oh, it's got a sequencer and stuff built in there. Like, it certainly seems like it's got potential. I wouldn't say it's the sort of synth that you can use without reading up on it first.
No,
basically,
maybe a bit of sound design and then have a few presets ready that you've already made.
But yeah. Should we have a list? Should we just have a listen to some presets? Because I'm not sure I've done it justice. Oh, it's quite nice.
Presets use quite simple modulation, you know? Everything is quite simple.
It's bread and butter sounds. It's got kind of like a sort of plasticky feel. Like, do you remember? I don't know if you remember Plastics.
No.
I can't remember who developed that. That was like a phase distortion synth from back in the day. Oh, look, it's got some very clever stuff going on the morph pad there. Oh, this one's a bit of a mysterious pads. Oh, that's got a bit more of a kind of new school virtual analog feel. This is a Hoover apparently, but yeah, I'm not really feeling that one too much. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'd recommend it for people who are into the sort of phase distortion sound that you get from Plastics or what's that Plugin Alliance one? Virtual
CZ, yeah.
CZ, yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, interesting stuff, and fair play to the Chinese for getting on it. Let's have some more of that stuff, yeah?
Yeah, they've they're doing well. They've done well with their first one.
Yeah, and it looks lovely, and it's it sounds decent. So yeah,
And
result.
it's nice and curvaceous and wiggly.
Yeah, I thought I'd be able to make something a bit better without, without sight unseen. But yeah, I think I've learnt a lesson about hubris today. Well, that's it for the end of our first inaugural episode. How's it been for you, James?
It's been emotional, Tim. I don't think the scars from this will fade anytime soon.
That's good. We'll see you next time for more music software news and views.
Bye!
See you later.